Pleasure to have Coach Elko join us, and he will go straight to your questions. We'll start over here on the left side with AP.
Good afternoon, Coach.
How are you?
Very good, very well, thank you. AP Stedham, AP as we see it. Coach, what pleased you about Marcel Reed last year, and what would you like to add to get better this season?
Yeah, I think obviously he stepped into a really difficult spot and put himself in position to help us win a lot of football games. I think it started down in Gainesville when he made his first start in the swamp, and that's not an easy place to do it. And so for him to go out and do that and be successful, and now I think the next step for him is just developing as a complete quarterback. And I think he's really put in a lot of work this offseason to put himself in position to take the next step. And I'm excited to watch him become a difference maker this year.
Stay on the left side.
Christy Freud, USA Today. Continuing on Marcel Reed, what do you feel like his best attributes are as a quarterback, and where do you feel like he needs to improve the most, and what are you working on with him in doing so?
Yeah, I think he's really, truly a dual threat. I think he has the ability to make every throw on the field. I think he's got great arm talent. I also think he's got a real ability when the play breaks down to improvise and make things happen with his feet. And you can see that across football, how challenging that is for defense. And I think the next step for him is really just the natural progression of becoming a master of his craft and truly understanding the ins and outs of our scheme, truly understanding the ins and outs of how defenses are trying to attack him. And I think you're going to see him take that next step next year.
Right side, third row.
Trevor Denton with Way 31. That Auburn game with overtime was one of the best games of the college football season. How excited are you to get a rematch with them?
Yeah. No, it was a great game. Obviously, we wish the result was a little different. It's been a great game every year I've been part of it. I think I've been part now of 5 Texas A&M Auburn games, and they've all been kind of like that. And so it'd be nice to get them back in Kyle Field this year, and I'm sure that'll be a big game.
Second row in the middle.
Jerry Humphrey, AO.com. Speaking of that Auburn game, Cam Coleman probably had one of his best games all season. How do you plan to match up with him this year in Kyle Field? Yeah, I mean, Cam's an extremely talented kid, and I think they've got a lot of weapons, and obviously they went out and added a quarterback in this offseason, and so, Hugh does a really good job with that offense, and obviously it'll be one of the more challenging games that we have this year.
Stay in the middle, fourth row.
Donna Conrad, 15 ABC and Bryan College Station. Coach, Armage, his second year of the program, and just seems to have a larger-than-life impact. What does he bring not only to your offensive line, but also have that presence in the locker room?
Yeah, I think he's got such a large personality, and you need some of that, and I think we've got a lot of different types of personalities in that room, but some of our other more experienced guys, Trey Zune, Demetrius Crownover, Deuce Fothery, they're a little bit more reserved. And so when you talk about Armage and what he brings, and he's the guy that's picking up chairs and slamming them in the locker room, and I just think there's an energy and charisma that he has that's a really good complement to the rest of that group.
Stay on the fourth row.
Tyler Shaw with KBTX and College Station, kind of going off. I mean, Armage, Will Lee, everyone here, they seem to have a confidence in talking about the goals and the aspirations this season. They say that, they're not lofty. They know how attainable they were last year, just kind of slipped away. So how important is that confidence to have to start the season with these players?
Yeah, I think what's more important is where the confidence is coming from. I think the confidence is coming from the work that they're putting in behind the scenes. And I think we talked a lot about that last year, which is confidence can be a really fickle thing. Every team in America, puts their hand in the air at the beginning of the year and says, I want to win the championship this year, right? And some teams have done the work necessary for them to have a chance to do that, and some haven't. And I think we spent a lot of time on that last offseason, and I think our kids saw what that could do and what that could potentially lead to. And now I think they've even upped it a little bit, trying to go out and make sure we do what we got to do to finish. And so I think where the confidence comes from is something that really excites me.
And there's been a lot of talk with Shamar Stewart and now not signed his contract yet. There's not a chance that he would be able to come back, is there?
Zero chance that was ever considered. It's a great lesson for all of those about facts that can be created by social media. Shamar has been in College Station training like a lot of NFL players do in their offseason. I think he actually just left yesterday to go back up to Cincinnati, and we're excited to see what he does for the Bengals this year.
Left side, fourth row.
Dan Peck, ESPN 1067 in Auburn. Armaje just mentioned Trooper Taylor as someone who has a huge impact. He's been with you since the Duke days. He's coached a lot of football. Just the value that Trooper Taylor provides to a program?
Yeah, kind of unmeasurable. It was interesting. I didn't really know Trooper when I got to Duke. He was the interim head coach, and a lot of times when the new head coach comes in, those don't end well. I knew somebody who knew him and said, hey, sit down, spend some time with him. It'd be worth your time to get to know him a little bit. And I think he's got a really, really tremendous ability to relate to young people. He's obviously a phenomenal coach and all of those things, but he's got an ability to relate to young people at a level that's really, really special. And what he pours into our kids and our players is really special. And so it was really instant connection him and I had. It was great that he decided to stay with me at Duke. I was really excited that he got to come with me at Texas A&M, and he's a huge part of our program and what we do.
Fourth row, middle.
Earlier, we were talking about retention of players in this transfer portal era and just how it seems like y'all were able to really keep a large nucleus of this group together. How important is that when you're trying to build a culture here in year two?
Yeah, I think it's critical. And I've said that every year since the portal has become a thing, that the number one thing you have to do in the transfer portal era is keep your guys out of it. And I think if you're running your program in a way that kids are excited about what you're doing, you see that in your retention rate. And I think that's what you saw last offseason. You saw guys turn down the opportunity to go to the NFL. You saw guys turn down the opportunity to go into the portal and chase whatever. You saw guys that were committed to what we were doing at Texas A&M and wanted to be part of it. And that was always going to be the first step. The first step was going to be to build a program internally that kids were proud of, excited to be part of, and wanted to continue to grow in. And that obviously is a great step and great first step in getting this program where we need it to be.
Fourth row still.
This is your first media days in Atlanta. What were your impressions of the College Football Hall of Fame? And were you able to check out the Texas A&M display that had kind of the Von Miller jersey? And
yeah, didn't get a chance to spend too much time down there. Obviously, it's kind of an in and out process, but it's great to be in Atlanta. I think obviously this is the goal of every SEC program, is to finish the season here, and so to have SEC media days and start here it kind of whets the appetite for the season and get ready to go.
Third row, left side.
You refer to Marcel Reed as a dual threat quarterback, and that term do you find that term gets thrown around too commonly, and what do you feel like makes him truly that? And then on top of that, to be a dual threat quarterback, you have to be able to handle the pass as well. How are you extending his responsibilities at the line of scrimmage this year?
Yeah, I think it does get thrown around too much. I think sometimes it gets thrown around unfairly. But I do think to be a true dual threat quarterback, you have to be able to do both. And I think Marcel showed that. I think if you look at his passing statistics last year, they were significantly better than a lot of people gave him credit for. He started the majority of our SEC games. We had the leading SEC offense and SEC play in points per game. Those things don't get talked about enough. What Marcel did and grew last year, just even in last year, I think is really impressive. And so again, I think he's really, really excited to get out this year and be our quarterback and lead this team.
Second row, middle.
Jerry Humphrey III, AO.com. Coach, you guys landed a big fish in Casey Concepcion in the transfer portal. Was that a relationship like sparked back since you were in Duke with him being from Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yeah, it was. We obviously recruited him a little bit at Duke. Our safeties coach, Ishmael Aristide, was kind of involved in that a little bit, but I don't know that he ever strongly considered that as an option for him. We knew him really well from playing against him. And so the second his name got in the portal, we were obviously very familiar with who he was as a player, and so he became a main target right away. And honestly, to go back to the Marcel thing, there was a little bit of hesitation on him in terms of where our program was going. And what we did was we brought him down for a visit during a football practice and brought him out to practice and told him, just come out here and watch this kid throw the ball, watch Marcel and see if it's something you want to be part of. And he did. And he watched it, and he came over to me in the middle of practice. He was like, you were right. This kid can really, yeah, he can spin it. And it was cool. And so I was a huge fan of his at NC State. He certainly was a difference maker there. We played against him, and I felt it on the field. And so to now have him in our program and in our locker room is really cool.
Middle section, back row.
Hi, Coach. Besides winning, what is some of your moments as a coach where you realize this is why I do what I love to do?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is seeing growth in young people. I really do. I think when you see, and I think this gets lost so much in how competitive this game has gotten and how much winning and losing is the end-all be-all to some degree. When you take a kid and you start recruiting him at 16 and he leaves your program as a 20-year-old man, and the growth and development and maturation that you see in young people, I think is something, and it's the reason why you get into coaching. It's the reason why you're part of this, is to have positive impacts on making them better men and better husbands and better fathers. And so I still think, even amidst everything in college football today, that's still the core of why I do it, and probably why a lot of us do.
Fourth row in the middle.
Armajé said about Terry Bussey earlier that he lost the freshman fat and that he's all muscular now and that he's in great shape. How have you seen him continue to develop this offseason?
Yeah, it's been a great offseason. And again, I just think it's like the Terry story was so challenging for him last year. And you know, he was such an elite athlete and he dominated on so many fields in high school. I don't know that he ever really truly had an off season. You know, he would go from football to basketball to track, and he just was always going. And obviously his athleticism allowed him to do that at a really elite level. But when you get to college, there's a development of the body that needs to happen. And he was never able really to do that. You know, he wasn't really able to train much in the summer last year. He came in with a little bit of a knee deal, and that limited him until we got to fall camp. And so I just think what you see from him is year one to year two of a kid who now looks like he has a college body, and I think that'll really help him this year in the fall.
Fourth row.
Having a healthy Le'Veon Moss is, you know, obviously huge for this team. What kind of dynamic does he bring, and do you see maybe even a different drive after, you know, sitting out so much time because of injury?
Yeah, I think you know, the first thing that happens when you get injured is the devastation of it, right? And then you go through the pain and agony of the rehab. And then I think when you start getting back where he is now, which is he's running, he's participating, he's moving, he's starting to get back to being his old self, I think you start to realize how much you missed it, you know, and how special it is and how fast it can get taken away from you. And I think that always adds a little bit of energy. And then just in terms of how important he is, you know, going back to the question that was asked earlier, like the story of his transformation and how he has transformed in the last 18 months is unbelievable. And I think he's a kid who is not only going to have a lot of success on the football field, but I think he's going to have a lot of success in life. And a lot of that goes to him, and a lot of that goes to Trooper Taylor, and a lot of that goes to his growth and development in this program since I got there.
Coach, always a pleasure to have you spend some time with us. Thank you very much.
Yep, appreciate
Good
you
luck
guys.
this season.
Thanks. That's it, right? Everybody gets to go home now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good luck. Thank you, guys.